Good morning from Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. I'm Dave Bradley as we get set for the first official race of the Sunday morning here at the Grand Prix, and it will be the Super Production Challenge for their 30-minute timed race. Still a lot of events on the schedule here today, including the Formula 1600 Tour, the Nissan Sentra Cup, and of course we'll cap things off with the NASCAR Pinty's Series and the Guardian Angels 60 presented by Dermaterm. But this will be the third race of the weekend for the Super Production Challenge. It's an IMSA-based touring car series, and it's been around for about 10 years or so. And you ask, what's the big difference between these cars and other touring car series that we see in Canada? The biggest difference that you'll notice is these cars take part in a standing start on the front straightaway, and it looks like you have lots of room there. Once you get into a standing start situation, that room essentially evaporates, but it does make it very, very exciting. There's 3 different classes racing all at the same time. So the Super Production class is the sort of top of the line. Those are a lot of the cars you'll see at the front of the field, 300 horsepower maximum, 11 pounds per horsepower. All two-wheel drive cars involved in today's race. So you see a mixture of Nissan 370Zs. Then you go back to the compact class. You got a good look at some of the Honda Fits and Toyota Echoes in the compact class. So they are 25 pounds per horsepower. In the middle, the production class, a bunch of Honda Civics. You can see there the Mini Cooper S's. They fall into the production class as well. 220 horsepower and 13 pounds per horsepower. So it's that pounds per horsepower ratio that keeps the vehicles on an even keel. Of course, when you're dealing with a number of different makes, that's sort of the way that you can keep things even with a balance of performance here today in the Super Production class. So we can take you through what happened in the first 2 races. The first one was actually held at nighttime, and so the headlights became very, very important for these cars. That one was won by Olivier Bedard. Marc Aru came home in second, and then Eric Hogenschurz in the 11 came home in third spot yesterday. So it was late yesterday afternoon. Green flag waved at about 5 o'clock. And it was an eventful race, especially for the 96 of Olivier Bedard. He set fast time, opened up a huge gap, and then something broke with about 2 minutes left in that car. So he did manage to limp home in 5th spot. The win went to Jimmy Briere in the Hyundai Genesis. Was showing a lot of smoke throughout that entire 30-minute race distance, but it didn't really seem to affect the car too much. He was able to cruise to victory by about 12 seconds over Marc Aru in the Chevrolet Camaro RS. Eric Laporte, one of the BMWs, came home in third in that one. Bedard did manage to salvage, as I mentioned, a 5th place finish. And you can see the number 96. It's the white Nissan 370Z. That is Olivier Bedard. He will start on pole for this event. The 11 BMW, a little bit of damage done. That's from an incident in the first turn in race number 2. And that one will be driven by Eric Hogenschurz. Then the Honda Civic, the number 3, another car that was involved in that first corner incident, Gabriel Lacombe in the Super Production Honda Civic. However, on a standing start, a front-wheel drive car does not necessarily get the best launch. And that's what we've seen with that 0-3 of Gabriel Lacombe. He's fast, he sets a fast time, and the green lights go out, and we are underway in the Super Production Challenge, a 30-minute timed race. Olivier Bedard gets off well. That Civic actually did well to get a good launch in 4th spot as well. Eric Wojciechowski in the 11 behind the wheel. That's a car that's shared driver duty, so we're a little unsure when we go to green who is behind the wheel, but timing and scoring tells me it is Eric Wojciechowski. The 44 Bilodeau had a great run going yesterday, coming home in 4th in a good battle all day long with Eric Laporte in the BMW. Now he's out in front of Laporte and sitting comfortably in 3rd spot. As you can see, the field all jockeying for position. There's an example of some faster cars and slower cars, and we have one into the tire wall already. Contact between a Nissan and a Pontiac Solstice GXP. That's Paul Moret in the orange and black Solstice up against the tire wall in turn 6. Have a look at what happened. Quite clear exactly what happened. That's the H of Michael Habrich in the Nissan. He got in a little too hot, got hard on the brakes, locked it up, and nowhere to go. And unfortunately, his nowhere to go ended up into the door, the 52 of Paul Moret, and Moret stuffed in the outside tire wall. He manages to get it refired. Heavy body damage to the back end of that car, under a full course caution, obviously. And the time does keep ticking as the caution period. The caution flags displayed around this 1.5 mile street circuit on the streets of Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. Such a historic event is the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in its 51st year here this year. 11 turns. There's only 3 right-handers on this entire course and several passing opportunities, although it is a fairly tight street circuit. So one of your best passing opportunities comes in turn number 1. You can maybe make a move in turn number 2. That gets a little dicey at times. What you really want to do is try and build your momentum in turn number 2. Keep it going through 3 and down the back straightaway. And turn number 6, where we saw that incident happen, that is actually a very good passing opportunity. However, there are bumps in the braking zone, which makes it a little bit exciting for the fans, a little bit dicey for some of the drivers. So you really have to be careful under braking going into turn number 6, and that's where the vehicles are going through right now. And you can see it opens up. So if you do get past in turn 6, sometimes we've seen a crossover where a driver will come back. There's another short straightaway. Turn 7 is more of a kink. It's a small right-hander, and then turn number 8 gives you another great passing opportunity there. So that's what we've seen over the course of the weekend. We've seen cars be passed in turn number 6. They come back around, dive down the inside of turn number 8. You can make a pass in the hairpin in turn number 9. However, it is very, very tight. So there's the turn number 8. You can see the significant runoff area. So 2 cars get together and get close through there. There's lots of room to play. And then here is turn number 9 and the hairpin. That's a tight one. Turn 10, we've seen some passes, but it really is cross your fingers and hope and pray there's no car there when I get there, because you can see that wall juts out. So getting set to go back to green, just a short caution period. The cleanup very quick. Olivier Bedard and Eric Wojciechowski in the 11 will lead them back into turn number 1. Look at the restart Wojciechowski got in that yellow and black BMW. Well, the drivers who did not get a good restart, Marc Aru in the number 24 Chevy Camaro RS. And Frederic Magny in the Mazda. You saw him lock up in turn number 2. He lost a couple spots heading towards turn number 3. Down the back straightaway. Not necessarily a full straightaway. There are some gentle corners there, but you're really flat out as you make your way through there and then heading towards turn number 6. Big hump in the apex of turn number 6 as well. Upset some of these cars. There you see the smoke from the Hyundai Genesis. We were watching that all day yesterday as well during the 30-minute timed race here in the Super Production Challenge. Jimmy Briere actually won it going away. Very fast car, but you will notice that smoke coming from the exhaust pipe, and we're told it's A-OK. It's supposed to run like that. Well, your race leader from Terrebonne, Quebec, a former karting champion in Olivier Bedard. He does have a start in the NASCAR Pinty Series, coming way back in 2015 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So Bedard is a veteran of several different disciplines of motorsport and found himself a very nice home here in the Super Production Challenge Series behind the wheel of that great-looking Nissan 370Z. He did have some issues, as we mentioned, the car limping home in race number 2 yesterday afternoon. So obviously crew went to work overnight, managed to repair that car and get it back firing on all cylinders. And look what happened to the Camaro. So the back wing of the Camaro of Marc Aru just came apart on the back straightaway. So if you don't think those big wings, and there's your second place runner. Eric Wojciechowski in the 11 is off the pace. You can see damage to the front end of that car. That is from a previous incident in race number 2, and you can see the driver communicating to other drivers around him that he is off the pace and he's pointing everybody by on the inside. But Wojciechowski was in second. And now look at the gap back to Bilodeau, who is your new second-place runner in that Ford Mustang EcoBoost. But I was focused on the 24, the rear wing of the Chevy Camaro RS of Marc Carew, who has a second and a second in 2 races here today. Marc Carew just down the straightaway. For some reason, that wing just decided to buckle. And it gives you an idea. If you think they don't do anything, you're absolutely wrong, because on a race car, maybe on a street car they don't do anything, but on a race car they do provide upwards of thousands of pounds of rear downforce to the tail of these vehicles. And you can see it was the air pressure that just snapped that rear wing of the 24 of Marc Carew. But the 11 of Eric Wojciechowski from second spot, now sitting safely in a runoff area. So no caution at this point. We're still under green. We're just about 10 minutes in, so we're about a third away through this 30-minute timed race. Good little battle there brewing for third position. Lacombe in the front-wheel drive Honda Civic SI, and there is Eric Laporte in the number 40 rear-wheel drive BMW. Gives you a good idea of the different platforms being used here, different philosophies as well, and they all stack up to make for a great race. As Marc Carew took a look going into turn number 1 in the Camaro, he's going to have less downforce going down the straightaway. That's great because it means less drag too. Better straightaway speed. Have a look at what happened to that rear wing. Snap. And that is just the pressure from the air pushing down on the wing, and then the bottom plate of the wing just broke away. And you can see now flapping in the wind. So he will not have as much downforce as he was hoping for at the start of this race, but realistically on a street circuit, you don't really need too much, especially on the back end of that car. As far as street circuits go, the 11-turn circuit here at Grand Prix Trois-Rivieres is pretty short comparatively. It's very technical, and it has so much history because for most of the 51 years that drivers have been turning left and right on the streets here at Trois-Rivieres, the track has really not changed significantly. And that's part of the charm. So you're watching the Super Production Challenge, a 30-minute timed race for this touring car series. They started at those hash marks on the front straightaway. A standing start for this group, and we're still watching that rear wing. It's hanging on. Marc Carew in the Camaro RS. There's your race leader in the Nissan, Olivier Bedard. Bilodeau in the Mustang EcoBoost, the 44, having a great run here today. So got a couple top 5 finishes already this weekend, and looking to better that, holding down second spot right now. Charles-Andre Bilodeau. So Carew has managed to get around those 2 drivers just ahead in Lacroix and Eric Laporte. So the BMW and the Honda Civic now in behind the Camaro RS of Marc Carew. So Carew moves up into 3rd position, or 4th position, I should say. Jimmy Briere in the 12 Hyundai Genesis, still running in the top 3 after winning yesterday's race outright in the late afternoon. Interesting, though, these drivers have been racing in all kinds of different conditions at all times of the day. As I mentioned, Friday night was in fact a night race. So they started just around dusk, and then the sun continued to go down. By the time they finished, it was pitch black out there, and they were driving at the mercy of their own headlights. Because this track is on city streets, it's not lit up like your Saturday night oval. But it made for an exciting race for sure. You could really see the brake rotors glowing from some of these drivers after 20 minutes. And of course, that one was won by Olivier Bedard. Marquaroo, the driver that we're looking at right now, came home in second. Then it was a late afternoon start yesterday. 5 o'clock they went to green. So not dark, but not necessarily in the heat of the day as well. But the track temperature was elevated. Now you're starting first thing in the morning. 9:45 start for this group here today. And the track temperature will be a little bit lower than it was when you raced at 5 o'clock yesterday. But they've all managed to compensate, make changes necessary, make their cars work, as Olivier Bedard, who had such a dominant run going yesterday, or I should say dominant run on Friday. He was running second yesterday, dropped out in the latter stages, and he was catching Jimmy Briere at the time that car did break. We had one of the drivers here in another class at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres racing nearly had lapped the entire field, lapped up into second spot, and then something broke with 2 minutes to go. Failed to finish. So you never know what can happen when you race for 30 minutes, and the bumps and twists and turns here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. In any class on track, Bilodeau stuck behind a lap car. He'll get some room through turn number 9. Needed that space because Olivier Bedard was held up just a little bit. You see the lead, not quite as large as it once was. So the Ford Mustang EcoBoost is right there. He might even get a sniff of the draft if he's close enough going into turn number 1. Jimmy Briere will also make quick work of the lap car. So that's the difference in speed between the super production and the compact class, and they all race together. So the drivers really have to have spatial awareness and know where all the drivers are on the track at that time. Not just the faster drivers making a move, but if you're in a compact class car, you have to watch the flagmen, watch for those blue flags, and know when the faster cars are coming. Patrick Whitmer in the Honda Fit will be next up. In the red and white Honda Fit, just ahead of your race leader. There's a good look at Whitmer in the number 93. And that smoke coming from the back end of that Hyundai Genesis. It starts black for the most part in a race, and then it ends up turning a little white at times. The H of Michael Habrich going a lap down. Remember, he was involved in an early race incident, that Nissan 370Z, so not on the lead lap at this point. However, having made a pit stop to make the necessary repairs to the front corner, that's where he made contact with the Pontiac Solstice of Paul Moret. Moret is out of this race. But the only caution flying in the early going in this 30-minute time race. We should see cross flags very shortly from the flagman. 15 minutes and change left in this 30-minute race. Lacombe in the 03, who's had his fair share of troubles over the course of the weekend. That nose on the Honda Civic is actually taped on after it was torn off in a first turn incident in race number 2. He also failed to finish in race number 1. He did manage to get to the checkered flag in race number 2, although marked way back down into the 18th position after having to make a pit stop to make some necessary repairs. And at one point, the brake ducts were sticking way out. Now it looks like Laporte will make his way around Lacombe. The 40 will move into 5th spot. Alex Habrich, that Nissan, is on the same lap and is fighting for position. Habrich to the inside, turn number 9. That's a bold move. And Lacombe will slam the door across the nose of the Nissan 370Z. So Alex Habrich, who had a mid-pack starting spot, has had a lot of work to do, and there you see the cross flags as we've clicked off over 15 minutes of time in this 30-minute time race. So far, the best time in this race has been laid down by the driver in second spot, Charles-Andre Bilodeau, who's about a second back of your race leader, the 96 of Olivier Bedard. So keep an eye on that second place too, as we will try to, when the cars head past our positions, we'll keep an eye on that gap. The last lap, it did not shrink. As a matter of fact, Bedard was a little bit quicker, but Bilodeau with the quickest lap of the race so far. And there you see, that's the gap between first and second spot. So Bedard not able to get out as far as he did on Friday night. He was able to open up a significant lead on the rest of the field, but one small mistake and he could have a rear view mirror filled with a Ford Mustang. Take a look at the lap times as they cross the stripe. Jimmy Briere is not out of this one as well. That red Hyundai Genesis is right there in third spot. As a matter of fact, Bilodeau, another quick time of 15.4, is about 0.2 of a second quicker than your race leader. And Bedard has just laid down his fastest lap of the race with a 15.6. So Bedard is starting to feel the pressure, and he's turning up the wick, but so is Bilodeau, who's going even quicker. Jimmy Briere, a 1:15.6 as well, sitting in third. So this lead battle is starting to tighten up. It's about 2 seconds between the top three from the leader back to third spot. But there you can see the distance on track. It's only a few car lengths between all three of them. Little wiggle out of the Ford EcoBoost of Charles-Andre Bilodeau. Olivier Bedard, though, eases it through turn number 10 once again. And you can hear the Nissan at song as he makes his way onto the front straightaway. Not quite close enough to catch the draft yet is the 44 of Charles-Andre Bilodeau, and we're watching the lap times. That time it was Jimmy Briere who clicked off his fastest time of the race at a 1:15.4. So Jimmy Briere, knowing the time is ticking on this race and the intensity is picking up. If you want to make your move, now is the time, because you likely are not going to get the benefit of another caution. You've got to use what time you have left to try and chip into this lead built up by the number 96 man from Terrebonne, Quebec, Olivier Bedard. Charles-Andre Bilodeau from Montreal would love to take the top step of the podium after a couple of top 5 finishes. Is yet to reach the podium all weekend long in that EcoBoost, but he's been there knocking on the door all weekend in both races, both Friday and yesterday as well. Today, definitely the best showing for that Ford EcoBoost of Charles-Andre Bilodeau. Jimmy Briere from right here in Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. After winning in front of the hometown crowd, the Hyundai Genesis, he currently completes the 3 steps on the podium if the race was to finish now, but we still have a little bit more than 10 minutes left to decide this. That dice between Eric Laporte, Gabriel Lacombe, Alex Habrich still all nose to tail. That's 5th through 7th spot. So Eric Laporte has 5th place. Gabriel Lacombe in the 03, the Honda Civic, running in 6th, and Habrich in the Nissan 370Z running in 7th. The other Nissan you saw flash through your screen, not on the same lap. So that's Michael Habrich, and he is several laps down after being involved in an incident in the early laps. A 1:15.2. So the Ford EcoBoost of Charles-Andre Bilodeau continues to go faster and continues to chip into that race lead built up by Olivier Bedard. But before this one is done, we have 9.5 minutes left to be completed in this super production challenge, and the 44 of Charles-Andre Bilodeau is going fastest when he needs it most. However, Marc Heroux in the 24, the Chevy Camaro, has just laid down fastest time of the day, a 1:15.0, so 0.2 of a second quicker than Bilodeau had done in second spot. But look at this, the leader catching lap traffic at a bad time. Could not swing into the braking zone. For Olivier Bedard, now the slower traffic will pull to the inside. You see them taking a look in their mirrors, the lights flashing for Olivier Bedard, but this is a high-pressure situation for your race leader. Second place may have just been boxed in as well. And there you can see Theriault pointing out the window, pointing the leaders by, and look at the big benefactor. The Hyundai Genesis of Jimmy Briere. We have a three-car battle now at the front of the field. So Bedard actually got through lap traffic a little bit better than the second place runner, Bilodeau. That looked like it was going to be heartbreak for Bedard as he caught lap traffic just going into turn number 6 and didn't get by right away. Bilodeau, though, caught lap traffic in the wrong spot going into turn number 9 and also had to slow up a little bit. But Jimmy Briere did not. He caught it all in the right spot. And Jimmy Briere is now pressuring second place and Charles-Andre Bilodeau. Just ahead now of the leader, Crystal Charret in that pink Mini Cooper S. Shelby Mills from Osgood, Ontario in the 26, the Volkswagen Jetta GTI. Just ahead, those two cars going a lap down, and you can see a lockup from the 26 of Mills in turn number 6, or turn number 8, I should say. Mills goes a little bit wide. And Olivier Bedard manages to navigate lap traffic. Look at this, side by side. Charret pulls around Mills and boxes in second place Charles-Andre Bilodeau. So this is the peril of running with several different classes at the same time. You have to be lucky sometimes and catch that lap traffic at the right time. And unfortunately for Bilodeau, he did not do that. And look at Jimmy Briere. Old Smoky, the Hyundai Genesis, is coming in third spot. And now right on the back bumper. So instead of focusing fully on the car in front for Bilodeau, now he'll have his mirrors filled with Jimmy Briere, who we know is quick because Briere has won one of these events to the outside. A big slingshot. Bilodeau will have the preferred line in turn number 6. Briere knows he can't quite make it, but the crossover, that's what we talked about right off the hop. Briere coming back on the inside, trying to get a run into turn number 8. A little bit of an outside kick. There's turn 7. And then into the braking of turn 8. The door slammed across the nose of the Hyundai Genesis. This a battle for second spot. And this is exactly what Olivier Bedard wanted to see in his rearview mirrors. Once two drivers start battling amongst themselves, one driver alone on the racetrack with clear air all around is able to set faster times. A 1:15.5 that time by for Olivier Bedard, a 1:15.8 for Charles-Andre Bilodeau. So 0.3 of a second while battling with Jimmy Briere. Briere at 1:16.1, so his lap times have fallen off just a little bit as well. Marc Aru in third spot in the Chevy Camaro RS. There you saw just a quick glimpse of the nose of the Camaro as he's managed to navigate through that gaggle of lap traffic as well. Eric Laporte in the BMW, the number 40, still ahead of the 03 of Gabriel Lacombe and the 75 of Alex Habrich. That's the top 6 as they run, but you can see where your favorite driver is running with the ticker across the top of your screen. It's a battle for second as your leader works through lap traffic. That's Patrick Whitmer once again in the red and white Honda Fit. Whitmer, a veteran of this style of racing, so he knows to look in his mirrors, he knows to move to the side, and he knows to move to the side in a good position as well, so as not to hold up the leaders too much. There he's going to do it here on the front straightaway. Free and clear goes that battle for second. And as a matter of fact, that battle for second picked up time about 0.6 of a second on your race leader. So these two drivers seem to be pushing each other a little bit and pushing each other closer to the number 93, or number 96, I should say, of Olivier Bedard. 1:14.7 for Marquaroo in fourth spot. Don't count out that Camaro just yet. We only have 4 minutes left, so he'll need a miracle to catch this battle for second spot as Briere on the outside goes around, doesn't even need the braking zone. So that was all a run out of turn number 3. And the Hyundai Genesis goes to the runner-up position. Jimmy Briere from Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, goes to second spot. Charles-Andre Bilodeau back to third after a great run all afternoon, or all morning long, I should say. And now a couple lap cars, or at least one, between second place and your race leader. Legris does a good job. Yves Legris currently 20th on track in the compact class. That's one of the Toyota Echo Cup cars. So you can see the big difference in horsepower. But the problem is, this is such a technical track that even when you're off the pace, you want to give up space and you want to give up that room to your race leaders, but you don't really have a lot of opportunity to do that. A bit of debris on track, picked up by your race leader, and there it is, jammed underneath. And now kicked out to the side as somebody lost a plastic piece off their car. Didn't slow down Olivier Bedard too much. But we might have a battle on our hands in the final couple minutes of this race. We'll get 2, maybe 3 more laps out of this one. Usually, the white flag goes out just before the clock ticks to 0. Olivier Bedard, your race leader, he's got lap traffic ahead of him. Gravel in the number 48 in the production class, the Mini. Or 43, I should say, Jacques Gravel. Oh, no, that's the 48, you're right. Paul Gravel finished 6th yesterday in the production overall, 6th overall, but a pretty stout run for the production class, and obviously struggling just a little bit here today. In 14th place comparatively to his finish last night. We had 26 starters took the green here in the Super Production Challenge as we're a minute and a half left in the gap at the front. 1 second between the top 3 cars. 2 seconds if you include Marquaroo back in 4th position. Jimmy Briere navigates the lap traffic on the straightaway. Here comes Charles-Andre Bilodeau, able to outbreak the Mini Cooper S of Paul Gravel. You hear the turbocharger in the Pontiac or the Hyundai Genesis, the turbo squealing on the straightaways. You can see the intercooler at the front end of that Genesis as well, as the second place driver is starting to move up on your race leader, but time is ticking down. We might see the white flag this time by, and we do. 1 more lap to go. Under a minute here in the Super Production Challenge isn't enough for Jimmy Briere to catch Olivier Bedard, who has led since the drop of the initial green. He started on pole. He nailed his standing start in the Nissan 370Z, and he's led not comfortably. He has been challenged a couple of times over the course of this race. But Olivier Bedard focused out the front window, down the straightaway, Boulevard du Carmel, and into turn number 3. Jimmy Briere going to try and outbrake him hard, drive it in harder than he ever has before in this race. He'll close the gap a little bit, but it's not enough. Slides it off at turn number 6. That's how hard Jimmy Briere is pushing. Look at the battle for third shaping up between the 2 pony cars, the Ford Mustang EcoBoost and the Chevrolet Camaro RS. Turn number 8. Dispatch for Olivier Bedard, now in through the hairpin in turn number 9. Only a few corners left for your race leader, the man from Terrebonne, Quebec, a winner on Friday in the lights. 5th place yesterday and a winner again on Sunday morning. Jimmy Briere will come home second, and a podium position for Charles-Andre Bilodeau. He'll be rewarded with a great drive here on Sunday morning in the Super Production Challenge. And you can burn those tires off now. We're done. 3 races in the books. You didn't see any donuts done by the winners after 2 races because you still had to save your car. It's a long weekend with 3 races, but Olivier Bedard getting the green light to light him up in turn number 1 in front of the fans here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. So we'll take it through the finishers as Olivier Bedard makes his way around the track, waving not only to the fans, to the corner workers as well. It's great to see the corner workers have that camaraderie with the drivers. So Bedard, Briere, Charles-Andre Bilodeau, Marco Roux, fastest time of the race, comes home 4th. Eric Laporte will round out your top 5. Gabriel Lacombe, Alex Habrich in the 75. Did manage to get around a couple drivers he was chasing. Actually, Habrich comes home 7th. Mario Charette in the 57. Sylvain Laporte in the 50. And Benoit Laporte in the 60 will round out your top 10. Have a look at this this initial start. A standing start. Super exciting here in the Super Production Challenge Series. And you can see it was a clean start through turn number 1. It was really the first time that we saw one of the front-wheel drive Honda Civics get off well. There's Toka Murphy in the 27 going past the stricken number 52. Paul Morin, contact with the Habrich car and into the tire wall. That one ended the race for the 52 of Paul Morin. And then the second place driver, that yellow and black BMW, driven by Eric Wojciechowski, failed to finish on Friday night and failed to finish here. Something broke in the drive line of that number 11. This was a great battle through the middle to final stages of the race between the 12 of Jimmy Briere and the 44 of Charles-Andre Bilodeau. He did everything he could to keep that Hyundai Genesis behind him, but unfortunately for him, Jimmy Briere just too much. So the native of Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, settled into second, set his sights on your race leader, but ran out of time. The difference at the line, about a second between the top 2 drivers, as Olivier Bedard came home. A masterful drive in the Nissan 370Z and takes the checkered flag. The gap for 3rd, not all that big either. It's the 24 of Marco Roux, fastest lap of the race, a 1:14 and change. That's about a full second quicker than anybody else went, but again, not enough consistency to catch the number 96 of Olivier Bedard. As Bedard hops out, and he will head to the trophy ceremony. And we'll be back. Obviously, the French language reporter is going to have a quick chat with your race winner. Olivier Bedard is all smiles here today after his issues yesterday. He came home 5th, but a limping car. He managed to hold on to 5th. Let's be honest there. It wasn't necessarily an earned position as you would typically see with hard racing. It was he was running in 2nd spot and something broke, and he ended up limping home to 5th spot. But it gives you an idea of how big of a lead he had built up at that one point. But so I'm going to take a quick break here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Coming up in just a short time will be the Formula 1600s, and they'll finish off their final race of the weekend. And they've been putting on a pretty good display of racecraft. It's been all Nick Gilks so far in 2021 here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in the Formula 1600 series. He won by almost 11 seconds in race number 1. He won by 6.5 seconds in race number 2. His teammate Jean-Christophe Tréhan coming home in second both times. Marc-Antoine Cardin failed to finish race number 1, finished on the podium in race number 2. So that's the Formula 1600 series as the trophy presentation set to get underway here for the Super Production Challenge. We're going to take a quick break. You've been watching the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Dave Bradley. And we'll be back with the Formula 1600s very shortly.
Toute qu'une bataille entre vous deux. Écoute, ça a pris quand même quelques tours avant que ça passe, là.
Oui, effectivement. Puis là, je pensais que des bouts, j'étais un petit peu plus rapide que Charles-André, mais je pensais que finalement, il avait give up. OK, c'est beau, vas-y, mais finalement, il a manqué de gaz. Ça m'aurait étonné de lui. Mais il était très rapide, puis je te dirais, à plusieurs places. On était rapide à des places différentes, mais overall, si ça n'avait pas été de ça, je pense qu'il y aurait eu ma position, honnêtement.
Charles-André, la dernière fois que tu as fait un podium, c'est en quelle année?
Je pense 2017.
2017, non?
Ouais, je pense que c'est en 2017. Je suis content d'être de retour aussi, c'est vraiment cool. On a une belle course. J'ai eu des problèmes tout le week-end, le moteur chauffait, puis là, on finit sans monter avec une super belle course. C'est bien amusé, en plus, c'est une belle moteur, puis je pense que c'est cool pour le spectateur.
En tout cas, bravo les gars, on a eu vraiment un beau challenge entre vous deux, c'est le fun.
Sur le circuit de Trois-Rivières. On rappelle que la prochaine épreuve qui est convenue ce matin, c'est la Formula Tour 1600, la dernière épreuve de ce week-end d'activité. Par la suite, on a un coup de Nissan Leaf, évidemment, et en après-midi, programme principal avec la Lazar. Et puis, on va terminer avec les légères modifications qu'on court ce matin pour la période qualificative. Alors, on voit que cette victoire de Niki est là à la position 96, puis remporte également le championnat. On va aller rejoindre tout ce gros monde au podium pour la cérémonie.
Really satisfied.
Good job. Oh, right there, man.
Yeah, but you know the pump thing and everything. We changed the old diff.
That's good.
Tonight, last night.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
hey, c'est l'autre frère là.
Eh ouais!
C'est l'autre.
Tabarnak,
Semaine passée, Christian, Eric hier, puis Ben aujourd'hui.
Bon.
Je vais vous demander de mettre le masque juste avant d'embarquer sur le podium.
Oui.
Mesdames, messieurs. Soyez filmés avec le podium.
Oui, comment c'est habitué avec le procedure. Yeah, I work hard.
Dans la catégorie production, en troisième position, in third place, Nissan Leaf. En deuxième position, in second place, Benoît Laporte. finalement le gagnant, le winner, Sylvain Laporte. Finalement, dans la catégorie super production, en troisième position, une third place, Charles-André Bilodeau. En deuxième position, une seconde place, Jimmy Prière. Finalement, le gagnant de la catégorie super production, the winner, Olivier Bennett. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est...
dernier et on est remonté à la 4e position pour l'équipier. Alors, j'ai l'impression avec les qualifications qui se respiraient, on n'a pas terminé où on espérait pouvoir terminer, mais hier, durant la deuxième épreuve, on a réussi à aller chercher la 3e marche du podium. Marc-Antoine Cartel qui était de Sorel-Tracy, mais qui vit maintenant à Trois-Rivières. Donc, le Grand Prix Trois-Rivières, c'est justement une épreuve très, très émotive.
Émotive, et je dirais également, Tania, oui, on a une durée de course d'une quarantaine de minutes, 45 minutes, mais également, c'est une
Se fait sentir non seulement sur les pilotes dans les cockpits, mais sur les véhicules. C'est pas beau. À peut-être oublier l'effet sauvé. Si on n'a pas fait la mécanique adéquate dans les derniers moments avant l'épreuve, bien évidemment aujourd'hui ça va sortir. Alors tout peut changer. Et comme on le dit si bien au baseball, ben, rien n'est terminé, tant que ce n'est pas terminé.
It's not over till it's over. Mais oui, il y a des épreuves le vendredi, des essais libres, il y a le début des qualifications. Le samedi, pour la majorité des catégories, des divisions, ben, il y a une première finale. Sauf que on oublie justement ces finales-là. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on dirait que quand on arrive le dimanche, c'est là la finale. C'est là que ça se passe. Le dimanche, c'est magnifique. C'est le grand championnat. Et c'est là peut-être qu'on rajoute une touche supplémentaire au championnat.
Exactement, touche supplémentaire aussi en agressivité, parfois en piste. Donc j'ai l'impression qu'on a le droit à un très beau départ de la part de tous les pilotes en Formule 500. On s'attend à un départ propre. J'ai hâte de voir. C'est sûr et certain que le point numéro 1 du côté du Grand Prix Trois-Rivières, c'est stratégique. Et le point numéro 2 par la suite tourne à gauche.
Mesdames, Messieurs, pour prononcer l'invitation traditionnelle à lancer les moteurs, accueillons le directeur régional de GM Canada, M. François Hamel.
Pilote, lancez vos moteurs. Drivers, start your engine.
And there's the call to fire up the Formula 1600 Tour, and we get set for a 30-minute timed race. The final race of the weekend for the Formula 1600s, in a weekend that has been dominated by the number 64 of Nick Giltz in the Britain West Motorsport entry. He'll start on pole for this final race of the weekend for the Formula 1600 Tour. Welcome back to the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. I'm Dave Bradley, and I'll bring you all the action here in the Formula 1600s. And there will be plenty. This is a great learning series. But it's not just young drivers. There are some veterans mixed in there as well. Didier Schranen in the number 94 has been a multi-time Canadian champion. And looking for a little bit of luck here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in the first race He had a shifter break and unfortunately did not finish. And then yesterday, made some contact in turn number 2, bent up the suspension, had to go to the pits to make the necessary repairs, came back, did end up snagging a top 5 finish, but it was a long day of working hard for Didier Schrein. And Nick Gilks, as I mentioned, has been dominant in this class. He won on Friday, and then he won again yesterday afternoon, ahead of his teammate in the 12, Jean-Christophe Tréhan, in the Britain West Motorsports. But interesting to note that based on quick lap times from the race before, that's how we're setting the starting order for this race number 3. So that will put the number 10 of Marc-Antoine Cardin up on the outside in that red and white entry. So he splits the Britain West Motorsport entries. Didier Schrein will start in 4th position. And then Jacob Moreau, who's had a very, very good weekend, finished on the podium on Friday night, finished just off the podium in 4th spot yesterday afternoon. So keep an eye on that red and white number 92 as well. He'll roll off in 5th position. But you can see the drivers trying to get some heat in their Toyo tires here in the Formula 1600 series presented by Toyo, and they'll line up 2 by 2. So this time we will see a green flag as they head past the flag stand. The start in the hands of Nick Gilks. He controls the pace once the pace car leaves him, as it has done already. And he's going to bring them down very slowly. You can see Marc-Antoine Cardin backing up just a little bit. We had a start waved off. It's actually the only start waved off of the weekend, and that came here in the Formula 1600 series yesterday afternoon, as the vehicle's not lined up properly to the starter's liking. We'll see if it is now as they make their way onto the front chute. And the green flag waves. We're underway here in the Formula 1600 series. Cardin was a little slow off the hop in that restart, but he has the momentum on the outside of turn number 1. So he'll hold on to 2nd spot. Didier Schrein from 5th to 3rd in the number 94. So the veteran, with a veteran move on that initial start, will move up a couple of positions. The one who fell back at least one is the 12 of Tréhan in the other Britain West Motorsport, and a wiggle under braking for Schrein, but he'll hold that position in through turn number 6. So mark the 94 up to 2nd spot. So we may have a challenger for Nick Gilks, who has been so perfect all weekend long behind the wheel of that number 64. What will he do if pressured? He really hasn't seen pressure at all this weekend, but don't count out the 10 of Cardin. Use that offshoot in turn number 8 to try and maintain momentum. But you can see these cars, because they are so light, only 1,125 pounds, all, of course, sporting 1,600cc engines, varieties of different makes involved. Ford, obviously, was the one that started it all. Then they moved to a Honda engine. Now some of them running Toyotas as well, but they all make a lot of horsepower. Not necessarily huge horsepower motors, but they're 4-cylinder Hondas and Toyotas, about 1.5 liters. And enough to get these cars going. You won't see the back tires breaking loose under acceleration. But the power to weight ratio is fairly high, and you can see draft does matter down this straightaway as the 12 of Tréhan ducks to the inside. Cardin will give up the spot. So he's lost 2 in turn number 6 in the last 2 laps. Didier Schrein, though, is closing on your race leader. Cardin coming back, turn number 8, he'll look for the outbraking, can't quite do it there. He'll run on the outside. Turn 7 is more of a kink as you enter into turn number 8. But look, Jacob Moreau not too far behind there as well. So as mentioned, Moreau has a podium finish, finished just off the podium, so 3rd and a 4th in 2 races already this weekend. So these top 5 drivers, really the class of the field in the early going. 2nd lap in the books, and it's a quick time overall for the 64 of Nick Gilks. A 1:12.318 compared to a 1:12.414 for Didier Schreinen. So really not that much between them. We can tell you the fastest lap of the weekend so far has been put in by Nick Gilks, and it was under 1:12. So the only driver to break a minute 12 is a 1:11.998, and that was Nick Gilks in yesterday's final. He was out in front and nobody around him, nobody challenging from behind, and Gilks was able to put down a pretty much a perfect lap behind the wheel of a Formula 1600 car. Gilks from Richmond Hill, Ontario. There's a good look at Jean-Christophe Trahan in the 12, another Britain West Motorsports entry, sitting in third spot. He's from Montreal, Quebec, and saw a veteran road course racer, former Porsche GT3 Cup entrant, and entrant in the NASCAR Pinty Series as well. Patrick Dussault in the pits doing a little driver coaching, helping out some of the younger drivers in the Britain West Motorsports paddock area. But we have a race on our hands. 1:12.048, the last lap for Didier Schreinen. That's about 0.3 of a second quicker than your race leader. And look how much he's been able to eat into the lead of Nick Gilks at the front of the field. Twitch under braking for Didier Schreinen, I should say, as it shows just how hard he's pushing over those bumps in turn number 6. But the top 5 still able to stretch away from the rest of the field. They're not too far separated from each other. As a matter of fact, if you look back to Moreau, so the gap less than a second between Schreinen and Gilks, 1 second back to Trahan, less than a second to Cardane, less than a second to Moreau. So that's the difference in times on track between these top 5 drivers, and this is the most threatened that Nick Gilks has been all weekend long in that 64. So that time, Nick Gilks responded, and did he ever. Another lap time under a minute 12. Again, the only driver of the weekend so far to break the 1:12 barrier, and that is Nick Gilks, and he did it that last lap. So he picks up 0.4 of a second on second place, Didier Schreinen, who could only manage a 1:12.37. Actually, Jean-Christophe Trahan went even quicker, a 1:11.856. So the lap times keep tumbling here in the Formula 1600 Tour, and Trahan is now smelling the blood from the 94 of Didier Schreinen as the Shark is circling. As Trahan looks for second again. He's finished second in the first 2 races, trailing his teammate. And he's looking to do it again here today. So again, a 30-minute timed race. We have just under 24 minutes left to go. So lots of racing left in this Formula 1600 Tour. And the 94 of Didier Schreinen, as we mentioned, has had a very eventful weekend. He had a gear shift knob break on Friday, so a failure to finish in that race. Yesterday, everyone thought he might fail to finish as the front suspension was all twisted up after contact with the 83 of Martin Brosseau in turn number 2. The crew went to work, and as a matter of fact, they jumped on the front suspension, bent it back relatively into shape, and Didier Schreinen went out and snagged the top 5. Now he's chasing Nick Gilks for the race lead at 1:11.616. So every lap that Didier Schreinen tries to threaten your race leader, Nick Gilks responds, and the fastest lap of the weekend so far, a 1:11.616 for Nick Gilks at the front of the field. So they are starting to stretch out just a little bit now at the front of the fields. Trahan has managed to glue himself to the back end of Didier Schreinen, so that's the closest battle we're watching And Schranen unable to keep pace. Now Schranen does keep pace as he manages to break into the 111. So 111.762 for second place, the number 94 of Didier Schranen. So we have 3 drivers now into the 111. Still a new quick time, though, for your leader. And a look to the inside for the number 12 of Jean-Christophe Trahan into braking, and he will snag second in the Britain West Motorsports. Or does he? Didier Schranen comes back. A little crossover move, and Didier Schranen will hold on to second spot. I was just going to say Nick Gilks put in another fast lap of the weekend, a 1:11.4, which is another few seconds or tenths of a second quicker than anyone else has gone all weekend long. It's a battle for second, though, as the 64 of Nick Gilks now 3 seconds up on this dice, because as the drivers start passing and start moving around each other, they give up that preferred line going into corners. Sometimes you have to slow down a little bit sooner if there's a car to the inside. Even if you do cross over and maintain your position, you've given up that track space. And Nick Gilks, obviously turning fast time after fast time, is able to capitalize, and he's now pulled out a 3-second lead over Didier Schranen, Jean-Christophe Trahan, and the 12 holding down third, Marc-Antoine Cardet, and the red and white number 10 holding down fourth, Jacob Moreau in the predominantly red. You can see the yellow helmet of Moreau. He rounds out the top 5. Serge Bordeaux in the 55 actually came into contact with a tire wall yesterday afternoon. He's up inside the top 10 in 6. Dominic Legrand and Michel Legrand, the 93 and 78. You might see those yellow and black cars come through if the leaders do catch lap traffic, but those 2 drivers have been around each other all weekend long. Cardet, though, looks like he's closing the gap to this battle for second spot, and he has. He just clicked off another quick lap for the driver of the 10 into the 111s now. So coming into this race, just one driver had eclipsed 112, and that was Nick Gilks. Now we have 4 drivers in this race who have managed to go quicker than 112. So we have Nick Gilks, Didier Schranen, Jean-Christophe Trahan, and now Marc-Antoine Cardet, who are clicking off very fast lap times, with 10 minutes down to this 30-minute timed race in the Formula 1600 Tour. In the draft, out of turn number 6 and into turn number 8. And the Depailler corner here at Circuit Trois-Rivieres, turn number 9 is a hairpin. That is not a really great passing opportunity unless you have position going into that turn because of the wall on the inside. Turn number 10 is also another dicey passing opportunity. You can make it work, but both drivers really have to be paying attention. This is a good one. Going into turn number 1, Trahan did not have the toe he needed. Not quite close enough to the 94 of Didier Schranen, but watch. Maintain your momentum through turn number 2. Carry it through turn number 3. Don't scrub too much speed because you'll need to carry it all the way down this Boulevard du Carmel in the back straightaway into turn number 6. Your best passing opportunity here on this track. Trahan not close enough. You saw him peek just to the outside. Thought about maybe making a dive bomb move, but with about a car length and a half between them, not a wise move, and he thinks better of it and will tuck back in. Nick Gilks, though, continues to put very consistently fast laps. As a matter of fact, the top 3 now all beating 112 almost every single lap. And now you can see the drivers working into lap traffic. We have one car out of the race. It is the 97 of Mario Dufour. There's the 20 of Mike Franza. He'll be aware. He'll see the blue flags, and there you can see him. Well, I thought he was going to give space going into turn number 1. Now he'll see the blue flag, so he should open the door in turn 2. He doesn't. There's contact. Second place, and now third place gets involved as well. contact between several drivers in turn number 2. A lap-down car of Mike Franza did not yield. The blue flag was being shown. Didier Schreinen once again making contact in turn number 2. That's been a trouble spot for the driver of the number 94. Have another look. Mike Franza in the black. Number 20 is a lap down. There you see the blue flag. Didier Schreinen goes to the inside. Mike Franza comes through and takes the normal racing line. And then watch. The 12 did make contact with the nose of the 20 as well, so Trahan did not make it through unscathed. This will be a full course caution for Nick Gilks as he'll come through. So there's the 2 Britain West Motorsports entries. It doesn't appear to be too much damage to the right front corner of the 12 of Jean-Christophe Trahan, as he caught what appeared to be the nose cone. And there you can see the nose cone is stuffed in underneath the left front corner of the 10 of Marc-Antoine Cardin. Didier Schreinen was able to pull away. He's going to have a look again. And you can see that is the tie rod. So that controls the turning and the toe in, toe out for the front of this car. It's an aluminum bar, so it is meant to bend when you do get into a skirmish on track. And the crew once again has to make a botch job fix here on the pit lane for Didier Schreinen. He will have a lot of time, a full course caution, so the crew can take a little bit of time and try and make sure that gets as straight as possible, because not only does it affect your steering ability, it also affects which direction that wheel is pointed. So if it's bent, the wheels tend to toe in a little bit, and that means the front of the wheels are turned in, and obviously acts as if it's a snowplow going down the straightaway. It affects your top end speed considerably. It also makes the car difficult to handle, but it looks like the crew did a pretty good job at getting that bar straight, as they did with the suspension. And there you can see the nose cone blows off the 12 of Jean-Christophe Trahan and right into the path of Marc-Antoine Cardin. That was after the incident. Bodywork continues to fly off the 20 of Mike Franza, involved in that incident in turn number 2. So that'll lead to this extensive cleanup. We're still under a full course caution safety car situation for the number 64 of Nick Gilks. And Gilks had managed to open up about a 3-second lead over the rest of the field. So he'll see that disappear, and we'll see what happens on this restart. I guess the benefit for him is that he's got his teammate starting just in behind. But Marc-Antoine Cardin will look to possibly split those Britain West Motorsports entries. There you can see Didier Schreinen now back out on track. So we'll see how well that car performs at speed. That's going to be the big question. Again, Schreinen had a tough race yesterday with that suspension damage. Had to restart towards the back of the field. Last time he crossed the stripe, he was in 9th. So that's where he'll restart. There you can see the 55 of Serge Bordeaux now up into the top 5 position, sitting in 5th along with the 2 Legrands. The yellow and black cars you'll see weaving back and forth just in behind. Michel Legrand in the number 78 and Dominic Legrand in the number 93. And there, that nose cone seems to be coming apart a little bit underneath the front suspension of the 10 of Marc-Antoine Cardin, but he's unwilling to give up his track position to go and get it removed. I'm not sure what race officials are telling him as to whether or not he needs to go and get it removed, but he's not weaving back and forth. It looks like it's there and it's going to be there, but pieces of fiberglass now coming off on the track and into the air intake duct. You can see the small side pods on these Formula 1600 cars, and have a look at the left side. So to the left of the driver, right side on your screen, and it looks to be plugged with fiberglass of the nose cone. So the nose cone did come apart as he made contact with it down the back straightaways as full course caution came out. And there goes that piece. So that's good news, because that would restrict airflow to the radiator and cooling the engine. But the pace car is in, so the race officials have deemed that nose cone is not going anywhere underneath the front suspension of the 10. So we'll go back to green here with just over 12 minutes left to go here in the 30-minute timed race. Green flag is up and we're back underway. Pretty calm start going into turn number 1. A single file restart, so no real jockeying for position into turn number 1. Now down into turn number 3. Trahan is right on the back gearbox of the 64 of Nick Yokes as they make their way down the back straightaway. Dominic Legrand is playing a little defense there. He's got Didier Schreinen to the inside. Michel Legrand is just ahead. Change for position, and it's a change for third as Moreau, a textbook pass going into turn number 6. Look at this, though, at the front of the field. The two Britain West Motorsports entries very, very close, and here comes Moreau now. Your new third-place driver, and Cardet has been called to the pits for that nose cone. So an unfortunate situation. He wasn't even involved in the incident in turn number 2, and unfortunately, Cardet will have to head to the pits and get that nose cone removed under green flag conditions. It's gone, and he's back underway, but he continues to tumble down the running order. Now he's in 11th position as he gets released from the pits. So from third on track to 11th, but this promotes Serge Berdeau into 4th and Michel Legrand up into the top 5. Didier Schreinen still trying to work his way up through, but so he does get around Legrand, now working on Serge Berdeau for 4th position. He'll have it in turn number 6, so whatever bent in the front end of that car is not really slowing Didier Schreinen down too much. You can see it doesn't appear to be bent too badly, so the crew did a very good job at getting that aluminum radius rod straightened up as best they could under caution. You saw they had pry bars and big long wrenches and trying to get it bent back, but that's by design. Those suspension pieces are made to bend. They're made to break if they get too much contact, and if they bend one way, they can bend back the other way easy. Well, it's been a difficult weekend for Didier Schreinen, who was hoping for big things. Former winner here at the Grand Prix 20th, multi-time Canadian Formula 1600 champion Nick Yokes, though, has been so hard to beat all weekend long. Putting in his last time, it was 0.7 of a second quicker than his teammate Jean-Christophe Trahan. Jacob Moreau in the number 92. About 1/10 of a second back of Trahan, so if he can get a sniff of the draft, he might be able to get up and challenge the number 12. They're not too far separated on track. Didier Schreinen now clear of the 55 Bordeaux, and we've got more problems. Another driver into the wall, and that's turn 11, so an interesting spot for the driver to make a mistake. Full course caution once again. May have been Henderson Knox who caught the wall there in turn number 11, but big damage to that Formula 1600 cars. We're under caution again with 8 minutes to go, and a reminder that the time continues to tick. Caution or not in the Formula 1600 Tour here at the Grand Prix 20th. I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great morning of racing so far, and there's still plenty to come. We have the Nissan Sentra Cup yet to come. It's the 20 of Mike Franza, so Franza missing all that body work on the front end of the car, so something may have broken after making contact with the 94 of Didier Schreinen. That brought out the last caution. You can see he shed the bodywork covering the front suspension, shed the nose cone as well. But he stayed out on track. He was 3 laps down to your race leader, so potentially something broke. Turn 11 is not necessarily one of those challenging corners. It's more of a kink off turn number 10. You can really gas it up and you touch the rumble strip and head on your way and try and carry that speed down the front straightaway. So usually if something happens, it's either contact or a broken part on the race car. But this is really good news for Marc-Antoine Cardin. He had to go to the pits to remove the nose cone that was trapped in his front suspension, the nose cone of the 20 from that incident that drew the last caution. He came out of the pits in 10th, but 17 seconds back of your race leader. So this will give him the opportunity to gather back up on the tail of the field and potentially pick up positions and salvage a decent day after running inside the top 3 for most of it. And there you can see the tow truck does have the 20 of Mike Franza on the hook in the pits. You see the Thierry Saint-Onge, number 46, is out of this race, stopped along pit lane. So he'll be classified in 11th position. Didier Schreinen, also a benefactor of this late race caution. Under 6 minutes left to be completed, so we'll have plenty of time to go back to green. Schreinen will take this restart in 4th spot. Remember, he was running 2nd when he got collected with the lap car of Franza. In turn number 2, he thought he had the opening, and he did. The blue flag was waving, and Franza came down across in front of the number 94. Again, that's the Formula 1600 Tour is a mixture of new racers and veterans all lumped together, so it is a learning class as they get into the open wheel ranks out of the karting class. And often you see karting champions jump in behind the wheel of a Formula 1600 car. And then you have the veterans like Didier Schreinen, who's been racing in this class for years. All mixed in here, and I believe the lights now off on the pace car. It is, so the safety car with lights off, so that means we will go back to green, this time past the flag stand. So the drivers trying to scrub those Toyo tires, maintain heat, and take off any debris or rubber pickup that they've had at any point around this track. But it will be about a 4-minute dash to the finish. Does anybody have anything for the 64 of Nick Gilks? Nobody's been able to touch him all weekend long, but can his teammate Jean-Christophe Tréhan do it on this restart? Jacob Moreau has been very quick in the latter stages of this race. Will Didier Schreinen be able to close that gap? He's looking to back it up a little bit. He wants to get a run on this restart and hopefully carry that momentum into turn number 1. So the pace car is in. Gilks will bring them down slowly through turn number 10. Again, the leader controls the pace. It's the exit of turn 10 where he decides to fire. Jumps on the gas, and the green flag waves once again. Schreinen was not ready for that restart, and he falls back just a little bit of smoke in the tire of Jacob Moreau in 3rd spot. Tréhan's right there. He's keeping his teammate honest. Schreinen now with a comeback here. He closes the gap on the red and white. Number 92, Jacob Moreau. On to the back straightaway. Under 4 minutes left to go in this 30-minute timed race for the Formula 1600 Tour presented by Toyo Tires. Schreinen to the inside, looking for a podium position. He has position on the inside, won't even need to outbrake as it looks like Moreau backed off just a little bit, trying to come back. Schreinen got all kinds of loose on the exit of turn number 6. Moreau is in his tire tracks, turn number 7. He'll need to be closer to make a move into turn number 8. So Schreinen now settles into the final podium position, but don't count out the number 12 of Jean-Christophe Tréhan. we'll see lap times and the differences between the top two drivers. 1:11.6 and a 1:11.9 for Trahan. Didier Trahan even with that pass, a 1:11.8 around the 92 of Jacob Moreau. So these top three cars are flying. Still, though, dictating the pace is your race leader, Nick Gilks, who has failed to put a wheel wrong all weekend long. In the number 64, the youngster has looked so composed at the front of the field, never rattled, despite this race giving him some challengers who have stepped up to fill his mirrors just a little bit. You saw in the number 12 of Trahan take a quick peek in his side mirror. He knows that the 94 is coming at this point. We might get two more laps of this Formula 1600 Tour. Trahan decided to take a look in turn number 9. But he was a little bit far back. That might have just been an intimidation tool to fill that mirror again. He might see that the 12 of Trahan is peaking. He's looking. Trahan a 1:11.6, so he clicks off his fastest lap of the race so far. A 1:11.3 for your race leader, Nick Gilks, who's putting on a clinic at the front of the field. And stretching his gap even more now, about a second back to the second place driver and the 12 of Jean-Christophe Trahan. So Didier Trahan about 0.2 of a second quicker that last lap by than the second place driver, and the second place driver feeling the heat a little bit, twitching, under braking. They'll see the white flag this time by. There will be one more lap to go again. Trahan tucks in inside in turn number 9 and doesn't quite get the runoff that the 12 does. White flag, one more lap to go for your race leader, Nick Gilks. Trahan, his fastest lap of the race, a 1:11.5, 1:11.7 for Didier Trahan. Moreau now goes into the 1:11, so 1:11.9. And we can tell you that Marc-Antoine Cardin in the 10, who made that pit stop under green flag conditions before the caution came out, is now up into 6th position, chasing the 55 of Serge Bordeaux. But there is your race leader down the back straightaway for the final time of the weekend here in the Formula 1600 Tour. Nick Gilks will ease it through turn number 6. He does not have to push. He's got about a second gap back to his teammate in Jean-Christophe Trahan, who has responded to pressure from the 94 of Didier Trahan. And he's picked up his own pace, closing the gap a little bit even on the race leader, the 64 of Nick Gilks, but he'll ease it through turn number 10 for the final time. Gilks will see the checkered flag as he reaches the front straightaway. An arm pump. This one an excited one because he knew this one was difficult. The 12 of Trahan will come home in second. Didier Trahan will round out the podium finishers. Jacob Moreau in the 92 will come home 4th. Marc-Antoine Cardin will finish inside the top 5, just getting by the 55 of Serge Bordeaux, I should say. What a pretty exciting Formula 1600 Tour race. 30 minutes on track, a couple of cautions to bunch them back up at times, but what an eventful final event here in the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, the Formula 1600 Tour. On track 3 times for races over the course of the weekend, and they saved the best for Sunday. The most fans in the stands here on a Sunday morning at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, and the Formula 1600 drivers responded, putting on a great show. Nick Gilks, though, the class of the field, 3 for 3 here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. A wave to the fans and the corner workers as they acknowledge him and the masterful drive he had once again here today in the Formula 1600 Tour. They're little cars, but they pack a lot of excitement, especially around this very tight street circuit here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. You can hear some of the drivers giving celebratory revs of their engine, and there is the two Britain West Motorsports drivers getting congratulations as they pull in beside each other, as they have all three races of this weekend. The 12th of Trahan has finished second Friday, second Saturday, and once again a second place Sunday. Nothing to sneeze about, because no one could catch the driver, the 64. Nick Gilks. There's Didier Schreinen taking off his steering wheel, getting his congratulations. He's had an incredibly difficult weekend. He might be happy to leave Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres with a third place finish here today, almost a salvaging of a third place finish. After a broken shifter took him out of Friday night's feature race, he salvaged a fifth place after bent suspension yesterday, and now on the podium here in race number 3. So our next race on track will be the Nissan Sentra Cup. And that will come to you in about half an hour time. So the Nissan Sentra Cup will be on track in about half an hour. And of course, don't forget, we have the Guardian Angels 60 for the NASCAR Pinty Series. That race presented by Dermaterm. Congratulations amongst the drivers as they'll head off to the podium to collect their hardware and the trophies for their final race of the weekend here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Did not disappoint, lived up to the hype of the Formula 1600 Tour generally has. But again, the NASCAR Pinty Series will finish off the official racing here this afternoon. The Guardian Angels 60 presented by Dermaterm. We can tell you, local hot shoe LP Dumoulin, two-time NASCAR Pinty Series champion, set a new track record in qualifying. He'll lead them off from pole a little bit later on. But come back, we'll have the Nissan Sentra Cup coming up at 11:50. So about half an hour, we'll be back, and we'll be talking about the Nissan Sentra Cup. 28 cars between the Nissan Micra Cup and Sentra Cup all mixed together. So it's a big field of race cars hitting the track in about half an hour. And we'll be here to call all the action. Once again, I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you very much for joining us from the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And we'll have the Nissan Sentra Cup in about half an hour. 11:50 is when we go green.
deuxième position, Monsieur Anderson Max. Et finalement, le gagnant, Monsieur Serge Bourbeau. Et maintenant, continuons avec la catégorie course de F500. Pour honorer les pilotes de cette course, je garde avec moi M. Marcel Lafontaine, toujours propriétaire de la série F500. En troisième place, M. Didier Shannon. En deuxième position, M. Jean-Christophe Tran. Et finalement, le grand gagnant, M. Nick Gilkis. Félicitations à tous les gagnants. Et mesdames, messieurs, ceci complète la cérémonie protocolaire de la course F1600. Restez avec nous pour la suite épreuve au programme, la course Nissan Leaf.
Alors voilà donc ces cérémonies d'après-course qui sont complétées pour la Formule 500. Bravo, congratulations guys. Bravo à tous ces pilotes. Et pendant
And welcome back to the Grand Prix at Trois-Rivieres. I'm Dave Bradley as the Nissan Sentra Cup has fired engines on the grid here on the front straightaway, set for their 40-minute timed race. And this will be their second race of the weekend. Kevin King came home victorious in race number 1. But the driver who set fast time and will lead them to green here today, Gavin Sanders, in the 10, did not finish towards the front of the field. As a matter of fact, did not finish at all. Came into contact with the concrete retaining wall between turns 2 and 3. And unfortunately, it was a glancing blow, but it was big enough to break the front suspension on the right front corner of the Fat Bastard Burrito number 10. So Gavin Sanders, despite being quick, actually qualified on pole ahead of Kevin King, failed to finish. And King, the points leader here in the Nissan Sentra Cup, extended his points lead with a strong finish in race number 1. The number 220 of Valerie Limoges will start in 3rd, and she was very strong as well yesterday, so she put in the 3rd quickest time. Alexandra Fortin in the number 32 will start in 4th. And one of the drivers that we've been watching all weekend long is Jesse Lazar, and he hasn't really been up towards the front of the field, despite having 2 wins in the Nissan Sentra Cup already here in 2021. Could only muster up a top 5 finish in race number 1 yesterday. So this group did practice on Friday. They qualified early Saturday morning. Then their first race came yesterday afternoon. And this is their second race. And there you see the group of Nissan Micra cars as well. So, of course, the Sentra Cup born out of the Nissan Micra Cup. And so we have two separate pace cards, two full fields for each of these divisions, but they're all racing at the same time, and we're set to go green here. 40 minutes, the time distance here for the Nissan Sentra Cup and Micra Cup combined. It will be Gavin Sanders and the one car of Kevin King. Those are your two names on the front row as they make their way onto the front straightaway. You see the Micra Cup cars closing that gap between the two divisions. A green flag waves, and automatically we fan out here on the front straightaway. Oh, and we got problems, and it's two teammates. King and Sanders get together in turn number one. A couple other drivers stopped. Still green, no full course caution called just yet. We do have a car stalled on the racetrack as Sanders manages to gather it back up. That's Darren Graham in the number 17. Graham out of British Columbia. But have another look at this restart. So there you can see the 10 in the middle of the track. The 220 is Valerie Limoges. She tucks to the inside. Great start for Valerie Limoges, and it was a 32 of Forte who made contact with the 10 car of Gavin Sanders. Sanders turned sideways. More problems now on the back straightaway. That's one of the Micra Cup cars up against the wall. Sanders is slowing to avoid. Lots of debris on the track, and of course this car of Darren Graham unable to refire the Applewood Auto Group number 17. So have another look at what happened. Whoa, and it was actually a rollover down the back straightaway. The number 100 goes up and over down the back straightaway. That's Alan Sanders in the Micra Cup. Gavin Sanders there to watch, you can see. So this is obviously a full course caution, two separate incidents. First in the first corner, and the next one coming all the way down in the back straightaway as the Micra Cup cars jockeyed for position. Well, you can see the, not only going to say the cleanup crew, the safety team is there quickly to check in on Sanders in that number 100, who did a gentle roll down the back straightaway. High center of gravity. The gravity of these Nissan Micra Cup cars, they do have smaller wheels, a 13-inch wheel compared to the 15-inch wheel on the Nissan Sentra Cup cars. So sometimes when they do get crossways, and of course when you're heading down the back straightaway, your crossways at speed, and all that momentum just ended up badly for the Micra Cup car of Sanders. He is out. That is great news. Obviously disappointed with his race as it sits right now. But he's going to catch his breath before getting a ride back to the paddock area. So Sanders, and there is Gavin Sanders. They have the front wheel off. He slid right across traffic. You can see the damage done to the right-hand side. I believe that came from yesterday's impact up against the concrete wall between turns 2 and 3. But two of the cars, sponsored by a Fat Bastard Burrito Company, involved in separate incidents at different points on this track. Have another look at this rollover. So you can see the 100 way out there. And as far as rollovers go, it was fairly gentle. Came to a rest back on its wheels. A tough hit there, but made contact with, I believe, this 57 of Barrett. Michelle Barrett might have been the other car involved in that one. It was hard to see because of so many cars coming down the straightaway all at the same time. But obviously the number 100 got the worst of it. A rollover here in the Nissan Micra Cup. Not something you often see. We have had a rollover in the Pinty series, cars at one point. But have another look at this initial start. Eric Chaput is in the 112 or 116 right there, and it looks like he makes contact with the 32. It's sort of a chain reaction case. It looks like side-to-side contact between the 116 and the 32. The 32 gets into the back of the 10 and turns Sanders in to the 1 of Kevin King. So Kevin King is still out on track. He is listed in 14th position. Valerie Limoges is your race leader as it sits right now, and the cleanup or repair continues on Gavin Sanders. However, the number 10 car is now 2 laps down to your race leader. Still 34 minutes left to be completed in this 40-minute time race for the Nissan Sentra Cup. But did not see that one coming. You knew it was going to be tight, but this division had run fairly cleanly up until this point. This weekend, the Darren Graham car doesn't appear to be damaged too badly. Something just broke. That car came to a stop. It was unable to refire. So the driver from British Columbia had to get out. But I'm trying to look to see if there was...
Merci beaucoup. Je vous parlais tout à l'heure du numéro 10 de Gavin Sanders qui a eu la touchette au coin numéro 1 dès le départ. Eh bien, les dommages étaient simplement physiques. On a tiré sur la carrosserie, on a arrangé le tout, on a mis beaucoup de tape noire. On a changé le
So I'm just listening to the French reporter on pit lane who had a peek in on Gavin Sanders and check to see the extent of damage on that number 10 car. It appears to be mostly cosmetic. And lots of tape on the bumper covers holding them back on, and Sanders will try to rejoin this field. But again, caution laps do count. So according to timing and scoring, Sanders is 1 lap down to your race leader as it sits right now. I'm not sure if that'll be amended. We'll have to see when they go back to green exactly where he slots in. But right now he does have a lot of work to do. Great look at the Nissan Leaf sports car. That's a fully electric car. The Nismo badging on the grill of that car gives you an idea. It's the performance division of Nissan, and the good folks at Nissan and folks who are a lot smarter than I am come up with some very interesting cars and very fast cars as well. And the came up with this series originally the Nissan Micra Cup, and then of course moving into the Nissan Sentra Cup, as you can see all that damage down the back straightaway where the car tipped over. The cleanup crew still working to get the bits and pieces cleaned up off the track, but you know, you have to give credit to Nissan for trying to figure out a new program to get new racers involved in sports cars. The cost initially to get into sports car racing is so high. You have to go out and you buy a car and you're not sure if you can keep up, and then the maintenance and the expertise that has to go into setting them up is so precise. So if you're jumping out of go-karts into something like a touring car class, you have to have somebody on your team who has done it in the past, who can give you that help and can give you the advice and expertise. What Nissan has done here is they give everybody a spec car. You can change the setup, you can change shocks, you can change springs, you can change the adjustment on the dampers as well, but essentially it's a spec car. Everybody's got the same thing. As far as an engine combination goes, transmission combination goes, they are a 6-speed transmission on board this Nissan Sentra Cup car, and they're all the same. So it really comes down to driver talent in this class, and it gets you a foothold into sports car racing. If you want to continue your career, you can continue to climb the ladder. That's why you have young drivers like Gavin Sanders and Kevin Kings of the world joining us here, but then you have other drivers as well who maybe have done the racing thing and are just looking for an affordable way to keep their nose in racing. Drivers like Jesse Lazar, who sits in third in the running order right now in the 21 car, the champion, the Porsche GT3 Cup USA. 12 wins in 16 starts that year for Jesse Lazar in 2016. He finished the runner-up the year before. So he has experience racing sports cars. A runner-up in the championship for the 2019 IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Grand Sport Championship. And now he finds himself a home here in the Nissan Sentra Cup, racing closer to home. Of course, Jesse Lazar from Montreal, former Canadian karting champion as well. So there you see some of the drivers who have maybe moved up and then moved back into a more affordable series. And we talk about affordable, and you say, wait a second, how affordable are these cars? Well, as far as race cars go, they're very much so. They are a 4-cylinder 16-valve engine, pushing out about 150 horsepower, just under 146 foot-pound of torque, and 6-speed transmission, as I mentioned. They're prepared by Motorsports in Action in St. Eustache, Quebec, and it's all available. You can get a blank white car, wrap it the way you want it, put the number on it, whichever one you choose, all under $40,000 to get involved in racing. So that's definitely an affordable price. If you think, wow, it's still $40,000, yeah, go try and find any sort of race car at a high level like the Nissan Sentra Cup offers. Even if you're racing on an oval here in Quebec, in Ontario, I mean, those cars are not available for $40,000, and you definitely can't run them for a season as you can run the Nissan Sentra Cup. Essentially, they're bulletproof engine and transmission combinations, so it's all up to the driver to make them go fast, and very safe too, as we saw with the Nissan Micra Cup that rolled over down the back straightaway, all featuring a 6-point roll cage, 6-point racing harness as well, all FIA spec, fire suppression system if in the event that it's needed, racing seats, window nets. So all the safety features that are required are featured on these cars. And of course, you see as the drivers get out, Hans device mandatory in these divisions, as are full fire suits. You'll see most of these drivers racing underwear as well to further protect them from fire. So we're still in the cleanup phase here with 28 minutes left to be completed here in this 40-minute timed race. We had an incident in the first turn and the Nissan Sentra Cup, and then right behind the Nissan Micra Cup came, and they got into a mess down the back straightaway, and a car over on its roof. Alan Sanders taking a trip on his lid, but back down on his wheels. The good news, and we can joke about it and use terms like on his lid, but Alan Sanders able to hop out and walk away. That's why, unhurt, the driver. So a tribute to the safety measures put in these cars to keep these drivers safe at this challenging 11-turn road course that is the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres. So we did have 28 cars take the green originally here this afternoon. There was 2 listed as officially out. Darren Graham in the 17 in the Sentra Cup, and of course the number 100 of Alan Sanders, who that Micra Cup car went away on the flatbed. But good news, we're getting set to go back to green. The pace car pulls off down pit lane. The field will restart single file. So we did not complete a full lap at speed. This time it will be Valerie Limoges at the front of the field. She'll dictate the pace and bring them onto the front straightaway and bring them back to green here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in the Nissan Sentra Cup. See Kevin King, the yellow lights on the black car. That was your outside pole sitter. He was involved in an incident in turn number 1, sent him way back into the pack, restarts in 14th position, and he'll have to get through the Micra Cup cars before he gets up into the Sentra class. Side by side through turn number 3. That's not going to work, as Jesse Webb found out in the number 94. Tried to slam the door, but contact made with another driver. Kai Dial in the 44. restarted in 7th and is now in 6th position. So he was the one to pick up the position in turn number 3. Still the top 3. Valerie Limoges, Eric Chaput, and Jesse Lazar. Webb has fallen back a little bit in the 94. He restarted in 4th position. Now back to 7th. So not a good restart for the rookie from British Columbia. Former Carter under the tutelage of Stefan Rudzinski. A name that is familiar in Canadian motorsport circles. And there you can see Cruz looking on as Valerie Limoges leads, but not by much. Eric Chaput right in her draft down the front straightaway. Will he poke out into turn number 1? He will not. They'll stick nose to tail and try and get away from third-place runner Jesse Lazar. You can see another two-car battle just in behind. That's the 32 Forte. And Simon Charbonneau in the 88. So Charbonneau with a top 5 finish yesterday in race number 1 is sitting in that 5th position once again, but the pressure will be turned up here very shortly. Valerie Limoges, a former winner here in the Nissan Micra Cup. As a matter of fact, the last time the Nissan Micra Cup ran here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in 2019, the woman who is leading the field right now led them to the checkers then too. She picked up the win in 2019. 3rd in the point standings in the Micra Cup Championship was the 220 of Valerie Limoges. And there you can see some damage on the back end of the 94 of Jesse Webb. So contact in turn number 3, and is that Chaput? That is the one. Problems for your second place driver, the 116 of Eric Chaput. You saw some smoke from the back end of that Nissan Sentra Cup, and he is very much off the pace. So the 21 of Jesse Lazar now goes up into 2nd, but the gap to your race leader is more than a second. Chaput will find a runoff area, or at least try and limp it back to the paddock area. But Valerie Limoges now all by herself. Yeah, so there is Chaput. He found a runoff area, able to park the car without drawing a caution. So we stay under green here with just over 22 minutes left in the Nissan Sentra Cup. What a turn of events, though. So was that caused by the first turn incident? You remember Chaput was one of those drivers involved, although just barely made side-to-side contact with the 32 Forte. So maybe what happened was that side-to-side contact caused an eventual driveline problem on the 116. At this point, we're just talking. I have not heard anything reported back from the pits at this point, but Chaput is running solidly inside the top 2, and now Jesse Lazar, who is your second place runner, has some company in his mirrors. The 32 Forte. Alexander Forte and Simon Charbonneau in the 32 and the 88. The 32 is a red and white Nissan Sentra Cup. The 2 white cars, the first one with the red roof is Jesse Lazar, and then the 88 all white cars, Simon Charbonneau into turn number 6. And the gaps between those drivers close up just a little bit. All the while, though, the 220 of Valerie Limoges is able to stretch a bit of a lead. We should tell you that the best time put in so far has been by the driver, the number 32, Alexandra Forte. So Forte, before getting into the fix auto, number 32, has spent 9 years out of a race car. He's a competitive ski racer, which is interesting to see. A lot of those competitive ski racers with no skiing to do in Canada in the summertime jump behind the wheel of a race car, because if they're going fast on skis, they want to keep going fast in the summertime, and that's exactly what Fortin is doing. Valerie Limoges just clicked off the fastest lap of the race so far. No surprise there at 1:19.2 as she opens up the gap to second place. Now 2 seconds the difference between the top two drivers, and then less than a second back to third, fourth, and fifth. Your leader in the Micra Cup, Sylvain Ouellette with Andre Lapointe. Those two battled hard all day yesterday. The Ford 27 of Nicolas Barrette in that battle, as well as the Micra Cup car, still very, very close. In this race, Ouellette has a little bit of a gap, not much, less than a car length, back to the 47 as you see them. The draft does work for those Micra Cup cars, believe it or not. You really want to tuck in behind and use it to your advantage. There you see the 47 peeking out just a little bit, thinking about getting a run on the outside of turn 7, because that'll put you on the inside of turn number 8. Still, in the Centra Cup, one of the best battles on the track is between the Door Doctor number 21 of Jesse Lazar and that Fix Auto number 32 of Alexandre Fortin. As Fortin pressures him through turn number 2, he can't squeeze into turn number 3. That would be a dicey proposition for a passing opportunity. So the best thing to do is try to maintain your momentum down this back straightaway. Carry that speed with you. He's got the 88 of Simon Charbonneau just in behind. So if he makes a move, he opens himself up to be passed, as we've got problems once again. And it was Ouellette, the number 98, your leader in the Micra Cup. A little spin in turn number 1. No harm, no foul, although the 98's going to lose a number of positions, but we stay green. Have another look at what happened. The 427 takes a look. There's the 47 into Ouellette, so it was a half spin, and then lights up the right front tire as he gets hard onto the gas. So Lapointe makes contact with Ouellette in turn number 1. And so that will put Lapointe into top spot. Nicolas Barrette elevates himself a position as well. There you can see the draft at work. Fortin takes a peek. Lazar will tuck to the inside just a little bit. Not a blocking maneuver, just a defensive line into turn number 1 for the Door Doctor number 21. Valerie Limoges, you can see the taillights of the 220 starting to disappear at the front of this field. She does have the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:19.275. Jesse Lazar, his last lap around, his quickest lap of the race, a 1:19.4. Here comes Charbonneau. Charbonneau's been known to take a big dive into turn number 6 and try and gain positions. Thought about it there, but decided to back off as the 32 was just too far ahead. But there you can see as the 32 had to think about what the 88 was doing. Fortin lost a little bit of touch from the 21 of Jesse Lazar. So it looks as though Fortin is quite happy to follow the 21 in his tire tracks at this present moment as they try to gain ground back up on your race leader. Because once they start battling side by side, that gap that is now 2 seconds will grow exponentially. You can see Fortin is right there on the back bumper of Jesse Lazar as they work their way through turn number 1, now into turn number 2, a 1:19.4. So again, Jesse Lazar puts in his quickest lap, but still Valerie Limoges out in front even a little bit quicker, just by a few hundredths of a second as they come so close to that concrete wall on the exit of turn number 3. Again, it's trying to keep the momentum up in these race cars. You've only got 150 horsepower to work with. You really need to keep the speed up. You can't just plant your foot on the gas and hope that car goes, because it'll take you a little while to gain that speed. You can see the right side mirror clicked back for Fortin. So he has made contact with either a wall or a tire wall at some point around the track. Fortin to the outside. Can he make a move here through turn number 9? Jesse Lazar takes the preferred line. He might have been defensive a little bit into turn number 9 as Forte closes the gap. Here he goes. This is a good run he's got working onto the front straightaway. Lazar knows it because he's going to stay down the inside for just a little while longer. Now he'll pop back up and take the normal racing line in through turn number 1. Forte right there. Charbonneau has lost touch just a little bit in the 88 in 4th position. But these drivers well out in front of 5th place. Jesse Webb in the 94. Kai Dial in the 44 holding down 6th here in the Nissan Sentra Cup at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. We're over halfway completed. 15 minutes left on the time clock here of a 40-minute timed race. There you can see Jesse Webb coming into your screen. That's the gap back to 5th place. Kai Dial in the red and black fully wrapped Sentra Cup car holding down 6th, but this has been the best battle on the track so far between the 21 of Jesse Lazar and the 32 of Alexandre Fortin. About 2 seconds behind your race leader, Valerie Limoges. Limoges finished on the podium in race number 1. As I'm looking back to the running order on the Micra Cup, Andre Lapointe in the 47 is inside the top 10 overall. The 427 of Barrett is holding down 2nd in the Micra Cup class. And there you can see the 875 of Martin Barrett in 3rd. Sylvain Ouellette, who went for that half spin in turn number 1 a few laps ago in the 98, is still in touch with this group. So he was leading in the Micra Cup class. Contact made with the 47 going into turn number 1. A half spin, but he gathered it back up, and now he has some work to do to catch these drivers, but he's right there. So one mistake and he's back in it. So the Micra Cup putting on a very exciting and interesting race deeper in the field. Now you see the leaders coming into lap traffic, catching some of those slower cars from the Micra Cup class. Valerie Limoges first on scene. But we've seen in other classes, some drivers might ignore the blue flag, may not see it as they're too focused on their own race, and the leaders come in, and that's when mistakes can happen, problems can arise. So Valerie Limoges, in catching lap traffic, did lose about a second of her lead. She had built up a 2-second gap, and there you can see it. It's about 10 car lengths now. Back to Jesse Lazar in the 21. Jesse Lazar's had the 32 on his back bumper the entire time, but Alexandre Fortin has been happy to just follow in the tire tracks, not battle too hard, try and get close to your race leader in the 220, Valerie Limoges. And you can hear these Nissan engines revving up and down as they hit the bumps in the braking in turn number 6, and then right on the apex in turn number 6 there's a quite a big bump that has opened up there in recent years, but the drivers know about it, and that they say it's all part of the charm here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. We're racing on regular roads and streets, so you have to expect some bumps when you come around the track. Lazar might have been pushing that car, lifting up the left rear corner as he worked around turn number 9. And that gap at the front is shrinking. So if Limoges catches a lap car at the wrong time, a 119.322, 119.1 for Alexandre Fortin. He's sitting in 3rd on the track. That is the quickest lap so far of any other driver here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. So that lap just put in by Alexandre Fortin in 3rd, and you can see as Fortin and Lazar start to pick up their pace, a 120.6 for the 4th place driver, Simon Charbonneau. So he is falling back, and there you can see the gap back to the 88 of Simon Charbonneau. So unable to keep pace of these two drivers in front, and they are catching, potentially, could even catch your race leader as Valerie Limoges comes into lap traffic once again. This tight 11-turn circuit does not help drivers when you find lap traffic at the wrong spot on the track. Limoges is going to catch the lap cars in turn number 10. They'll pull to the side here on the front straightaway and potentially into turn number 1. The door should be left open for your race leader, Limoges. It is, as the 51 pulls up to the outside. That's Isaac Lalonde in the black and white, and then the door closes for your second place driver, Jesse Lazar. Fortin will find his way through in between 2 and 3. So that's not typically a place where you would see a pass be made. But Isaac Lalonde in the Nissan Micra Cup car gave the leaders plenty of room after slamming the door in turn number 2. Gavin Sanders in the 10. You can see the damage done to the front, to the back of that car. It's had a tough go here this weekend. Kevin King, your points leader coming into this event, has only been able to gain 1 spot. He's up into 9th now after that restart, so he was sort of mired back in the field. Kevin King picking up a win in race number 1 yesterday. Fortin coming home in the runner-up position in the 32. Valerie Limoges in the 220, rounding out the podium. Jesse Lazar, who is running second right now, came home in 5th after starting 6th yesterday. But it really affected the overall driver standings. Kevin King stretching his lead over Jesse Lazar. Gavin Sanders in the 10 car, 3rd. And Alexandra Fortin, Valerie Limoges rounding out the top 5 as far as point standings go coming into this race in the Nissan Sentra Cup. 8.5 minutes left to be completed here in this 40-minute timed race. The gap at the front, we're watching individual lap times at this point because the gap at the front has been steadily at around a second for the last several laps. Valerie Limoges had a gap at about 2 seconds at one point, then caught lap traffic at the wrong time, and the lead essentially evaporated. She's been able to build it back up to about a second, but it's interesting to watch the 21 and the 32. So the 32 of Alexandra Fortin has put in the fastest lap of the race so far at a 1:19.1, but he seems almost unwilling to make a move on the 21 of Jesse Lazar, knowing it would cost them some time to your race leader. As soon as 2 cars start battling side by side, that slows both of them down. And if Valerie Limoges is able to continue on in her preferred line, but she's catching lap traffic at bad times in through turn number 3. You can't force a pass in turn 3. Look at the lead. Gone now for Valerie Limoges down the straightaway. Lazar will have a great opportunity here in turn number 6 to get around the lap traffic and maintain that gap, which is now only a couple car lengths. And that gaggle of Nissan Micra Cup cars just ahead of your race leader, Valerie Limoges in the 220. Limoges got lucky there. She was able to put a Micra Cup car in between her and second place of Jesse Lazar through turn number 8. Gave her a little bit of breathing room, but not for long. Into turn 10. This is a tight corner. Difficult to make a pass. Turn 11, she'll be able to carry that speed, the extra horsepower provided by the Nissan Sentra Cup. But in her draft now is the number 21 of Jesse Lazar. He took a look, decided against it. As your leader works to the inside of the Nissan Micra Cup cars, drivers going 1 lap down, but they're battling amongst themselves for positions. You don't just want to pull over and let the faster cars go, especially when you're in a dice of your own. as we see the number 28 of Frederic Bernier and Jean O'Day, former Porsche Cup Series driver. O'Day in the 5 looking to get around Bernier in the 28. And they're just trying to give as much room as they can, but you don't want to open the door up too much. And then look at O'Day taking advantage. O'Day's got to get out of the way of third place driver Fortin. Thing about the blue flag on a road and street circuit is that the leader gets shown the blue flag. Second place, not often, gets the benefit of a blue flag with the slower traffic. So once the leader makes their way through, the lap traffic should know. Check your mirrors. They're coming up on you, and it could be a battle. That is coming. The difference now under a second between the top 2 cars. But back to clear traffic, or clear track, I should say, in front of the 220, Valerie Limoges. Been racing cars for 18 years. Has raced in Porsche GT3 Cup and the Grand Am Series as well down in the U.S. And a former winner here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres in the Micro Cup. As a matter of fact, the last winner when the Nissan Series hit the track here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Unfortunately, no races held last year because of the worldwide pandemic. And you can see the drivers talking to each other in the Micro Cup cars as the leaders bear down on them. Look at Lazar now. Under braking, closing the gap. Will Lazar take advantage in lap traffic? Takes a look, unable to do it, but look at how he swings to the outside. He's trying to hold that momentum to take him through into turn number 10. Three and a half minutes to go as they cross the stripe this time. Lazar is very much in the draft into turn number 1. Pokes out, takes a look, but Limoges will slam the door into turn number 1. Can Lazar? He thought about it into turn number 2. Backs off in the 21. Holds his line. They'll go single file through turn number 3. Alexandre Fortin is the big loser in traffic as he was right on the back bumper of the 21 of Jesse Lazar for so many laps. And now he's lost touch just a little bit with this lead battle. There's the lead battle in the Micro Cup as well, coming into the bottom of your screen. The 47 of Andre Lapointe leading the number 98 of Sylvain Ouellet. Nicolas Barrette in there as well in the blue and white, number 427. So this is actually a battle for the top 3 in the Micro Cup division as well. So they'll be shown the blue flags whether or not they pay too much attention to them. They don't want to give up their battle or any track position in that battle to your race later. So 47 holds on, the 98 of Ouellet, who had a half spin not too long ago off the front bumper of the 427, as they will pull to the outside and let the Centra Cup cars go by down low. But Valerie Limoges going to hold that inside line. No room for Jesse Lazar to make a move. The next time past the flag stand will be the white flag lap into turn number 3. That's a dicey move, and Jesse Lazar knows that he'll back in behind the 220 and draft down the straightaway. Turn 6 will be his next opportunity to make a move. Two cars to settle this one in the Nissan Sentra Cup. Valerie Limoges, Jesse Lazar, both drivers from Quebec looking to win in their home province here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres. Lazar is so close into turn number 8. Uses that runoff area to try to gain the extra momentum. Turn number 9, essentially a hairpin, bringing the cars back around for turn number 10. A quick right-hander, and then the kink of turn number 11. You can hear the crowd cheering. White flag is up for Valerie Limoges here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. Jessie Lazar shadowing her for the last 5 laps or so. Difference in time separated by a 1/10 of a second on that last lap. Limoges a 1/10 quicker than the 21 of Jessie Lazar. She'll need to be perfect on this final lap down the back straightaway. Lazar will try to do everything in his power. He was a lot better on the exit of turn number 6 and heading towards turn number 8. Can he make a move there now? Thought about diving to the inside. He's a little bit too far back. Limoges, too good down the back straightaway. Coming into one of his final opportunities will be turn number 8. Needs a good run through this kink of turn 7. And again, not quite close enough is the 21 of Jessie Lazar. Either way, both drivers will improve their finishing position from one day ago, and Valerie Limoges will bring him through turn number 10. Listen to the crowd. Limoges, who won the Micro Cup the last time here at Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, will find victory lane in the Nissan Sentra Cup here in the 220. A fist pump inside that car from Valerie Limoges. Jessie Lazar coming home in second spot. Alexandra Fortin 2 seconds back in third, struggling to come through lap traffic in that number 32. But what a race at the front here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. And that's what you get in equally prepared cars. The gap that Valerie Limoges had built up at one point, 2 seconds back to Jessie Lazar. He scratched and clawed his way, bringing the 32 with him at one point. Simon Charbonneau, Jesse Webb rounding out the top 5. Kai Niall, Owen Clark, Justin DiBenedetto, and Kevin King, along with Andre Lapointe. So the Micro Cup car, driven by Andre Lapointe, will round out the top 10 overall standings. Lapointe beating out the number 98 of Sylvain Ouellet in the Micro Cup class. They had a dynamite battle as well. Martin, or Nicolas Barrette, actually in the number 470 coming home in second. Sylvain Ouellet in the 98 will round out the top 3 in the Micro Cup class. But they were back and forth for many, many laps, and there you could hear the fans showing their appreciation for a fantastic drive by the 220 of Valerie Limoges here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. She will find victory lane in the Nissan Sentra Cup ahead of Jessie Lazar and Alexandra Fortin. Wait till you see the smile on her face as she pushes her seat back, and she'll jump out. There it is. Double fist pump for Valerie Limoges, and how about a hug as well?
Yes.
As we mentioned, winner in the Micro Cup class the last time the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres was held, but it was an exciting race right from the start. The sparks were flying into turn number 1 right off the hop, and a couple favorites involved. Kevin King and Gavin Sanders both caught up in that first turn incident. But that wasn't all. We weren't done there. The Nissan Micro Cup car, so there you can see the contact. Fortin into the 1 of King and into the 10 of Sanders, and then down the back straightaway this. Another Sanders, Alan Sanders, behind the wheel of the number 100, goes for a roll down the back straightaway. All drivers would be A-OK, but there you can see a very heavily damaged number 100 on the flatbed. And after the full course caution, a single file restart. Valerie Limoges, who actually took the lead on that initial start, came coming down the inside. She timed that initial start very, very well and took the lead in the early going. Problems for Eric Chapur, who was up inside the top 5. He might have been involved in that first lap incident as well. And then this in the Micro Cup, nearly a spin for Sylvain Ouellet off the nose of the 47 of Andre Lapointe. That was going for the lead in class, and then the battle heated up at the front as the leaders got into lap traffic. Valerie Limoges held off a hard-charging number 21 of Jesse Lazar for the final 15 minutes or so in this Nissan Sentra Cup race. But she didn't get a chance to cruise. She could cool her heels just a little bit on that final lap as Valerie Limoges comes home the winner in the Nissan Sentra Cup. Big smile on the face of Valerie Limoges as she's out, has the helmet off, the Hans device off as well, but it's always fun to win in your home province. Valerie Limoges calling Quebec home, and to win in front of these rabid motorsports fans here in Quebec is always a great feeling for a Quebec native. So Valerie Limoges making her way to the podium presentation. She'll pick up the hardware along with Jesse Lazar and Alexandra Fortin, Andre Laporte, Nicolas Barrette, and Sylvain Ouellette, the top three in the Micra Cup class. Well, what a race here in the Nissan Sentra Cup of the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you very much for joining us. Our next on-track action will be the Guardian Angels 60 for the NASCAR Pinty Series, presented by Dermaterm. And we're going to give the corner workers a little bit of a lunch break right now, so we'll be back here. The NASCAR Pinty Series goes green at 4 o'clock this afternoon. No, 2 o'clock, I should say. That 4 o'clock, you would have missed it. So come back for 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll get things going with all the pomp and ceremony to kick off the 60-lap, first time ever. The NASCAR Pinty Series will be doing 60 laps here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres for the Guardian Angels 60, presented by Dermaterm. It's going to be exciting. Hometown native Trois-Rivieres, Quebec's LP Dumoulin set a new track record in qualifying. He'll lead them to green for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Again, come on back at 2 o'clock. We'll present that to you here from the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres.
Ben, j'entendais à côté, parce que moi j'étais une scène, on était trois. J'entendais juste... Moi j'étais comme, là, je peux pas breaker. Les deux, on a réussi à faire ça de même. Oui. Kevin était pas mal en avant de Gavin, moi j'étais rendu à côté de lui, vraiment.
Yeah, no, definitely a start like that. I used my go-kart experience to get on the inside, stay safe, and came out in a good spot, didn't make mistakes, kept pressure on the leader.